happening?
What's going on?
This is the Rick's Against Show. I am Rick Beer, your host. We're here with host Sway Rico and Donnie. Park that burger in your mouth. He wants a meal named after him. So
I actually had somebody that watched the show yesterday and said they were watching it. They said, "Hey Donnie, I want to get some of that ass burgers."
Elon Musk, autism, and that the debate whether was it his deficits reacting or did he do it on purpose?
Yeah, some people do it on a purpose. I'm not a big fan of dolphins, though.
Dolphins are hot, bro.
Now I'm taking a tangent. Sorry, folks. So back when I was 17, 18, we were coming back from Catalina Island. I was a Sea Scout. And there's this chemical in the ocean called phosphorescence, and it glows when it's disturbed.
Oh yeah, I know that chemical.
Anyway, it was my Eagle project, and we went to the gas dock to fill up, and they're like, "Oh, we're closing down," but we're like, "It's 5 minutes till you close." Like, "Sorry, folks." I'm like, "Well, I got to get back to mainland," and they're like, "We got 5 gallons of diesel, and it takes 5 gallons to get back," and we're like, "Let's go for it."
Let's do this.
So we're motoring back in a sailboat, like no wind. So we're motoring back in, and because of the Eagle project, I had no sails on the boat. But anyway, we're like a mile outside the jetty in Newport Harbor.
Yeah.
And the engine goes, run out of that. And we're just coasting. And I was like, what are we going to do? We're bobbing a mile from shore to the jetty. So geniuses that we are, we're like, well, we got an inflatable. So we tie the inflatable to it. And I'm down in this dinghy and I'm motoring this 38-foot sailboat in the dark, and this thing comes jumping up, like from beneath the keel, comes jumping up in front of me, and I'm like, "Shark!" It was a dolphin. It was a dolphin.
It's coming from our dolphin comment we made it. Okay, I was wondering where that came from.
Phosphorescence, or whatever you want to call it, was strong, and the dolphin's whole body was glowing.
Yeah.
And then it would leave like a 15, 20-foot trail of glowiness behind it. If you've ever seen The Life of Pi,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
the water and they zoom up and everything's glowing.
Yes.
It wasn't as cool as Hollywood. It's like that. It's like that. Anyway, I could go on with other stories about it. And in fact, that glowy stuff saved my life one time.
Nice.
We were sailing to Catalina, and I was on bow watch, and we're following the beacon, right? The beacons flash every whatever seconds, and somehow, on the bow, I see this ray begin to swim, and I was like, "We're in really deep water. At least I think I am."
Yeah.
Why is it that I'm seeing like this ray, this manta ray? I mean, all I see is the body moving, down 30 feet deep. I'm like, why is it swimming out here? They kind of rest in the sand. And so we're like a mile or two from shore. And I was like, why am I seeing this thing? And I had this instinct and I just yelled it. I go, hard port, hard port. And the guy on the tiller, we're a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
I'm like 17. This guy's like, 16 or whatever. And he's like, what? I go, hard port. He goes, okay. And he pushes the tiller and we turn. And as we're turning, there's a giant like rock like in front of us.
Oh.
A mini island. And we were like going right for it. But because of that glowiness, the phosphorescence in the water,
Yeah.
I was able to see a shallow bottom fish and react appropriately just off instinct. Otherwise, we would have just been.
Man, they could have used your skills on the Titanic, man.
I know.
You would have saved the whole boat.
Right. There are things around us that give us signs of what's going on. So
Yeah.
thank you, Mother Nature. I'm still here.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would have been a bad day for us just to go right into the rocks. I mean, it was like another 30 seconds. And as soon as we turned, and you could hear the water kind of breaking on this
Yeah.
rock. And, it's like a 100-foot wide rock that sticks up, at half a mile before you get into the harbor.
Mm.
So thank you, glowy stuff in the ocean. Saved my life and have scared me a few times.
Yeah.
Thank you, dolphins.
Yeah.
All right. So the first thing I want to jump into is North Carolina. And I got a report that 3 people froze to death.
Man,
A husband, a wife, and a small child.
That's sad.
They're still in tents out there. And I'm just like, what is going on? It's like, I don't know what's going on at DC, but
Yeah.
I'm like, do you want to build a snowman? I'm like, what's happening over there? They're like goofing around. And I'm like, and there's people dying. And it's making me mad
Yeah.
that nothing's happening. Or they're not getting the help they need. Or there's this thing where we'll offer you help, but you have to leave.
Yeah.
But there's also the idea, if we leave, you're going to take our land. So there's like this going on.
Yeah, I mean it's all stupid. The fact that they're still intense is kind of embarrassing. It's why? There are plenty of places to put them up at. Like it's
They always built like temporary housing, and they're like,
Yeah.
well, you can't live in there. It's not the code. And like, they just got to get him out of a tent.
Yeah, I think at some point the bureaucracy needs to go out the window and we need to say, okay, we need these people to survive. Let's do whatever we need to do to make that happen. And we can figure out the legal mumbo jumbo later when
Yeah.
lives aren't at risk.
right? Come on.
It's
I'm
ridiculous.
sorry, it's a 2x4 wall. Code requires 2x6.
I don't care. Is it going to keep my ass from freezing to death? Yeah, good. Okay, let's do it.
Something. Anyway, we need more details, but my initial reaction is I'm getting frustrated with this. Anyway,
Yeah,
I get what happened, and it's over, but there's still people that need help. Still people hurting.
Yeah.
Still people struggling, and no one's coming to help them yet.
Yeah, there's no excuse for it, man.
We'll see what
No
the
excuse.
administration does. They're talking like they will, but I'm like, it's winter.
Yeah.
Things are cold. I mean, it snowed in Florida. Did you see the Pensacola videos?
Oh no, not yet.
They're right by Louisiana. They're right there, and they're like, 7 inches of snow.
That's crazy. And this must be a thing right now because we have a guy that works for us in Houston, and they just got 4 inches of snow. And he said that we've never had snow like this before.
Yeah, it's really weird. And up here in the Pacific Northwest in Moses Lake, where we always get snow,
Yeah, there's none.
anything.
Yeah. Usually right about this time of year, it's snowing.
Yeah.
Guys, it's the polar shift. The Earth is. No, I've not.
Where's Dan Quayle when we need him?
Yeah, Greta Thunberg was right.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. She's not right.
It's great. Oh man, couple people and a baby. Like, it's just.
Yeah, it's sad, man.
Well, they're not allowed to help people, which is horrible. Like, because the citizens tried doing help, but then FEMA and other government agencies said, no, we got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dealt indirectly with FEMA. I went to Hurricane Katrina after the hurricane there, and I lived in a tent city there. And for several weeks, it's rough. I mean, you're dealing with rough things, and people working for weeks and months not getting paid because FEMA comes in with their preferred contractor, right? The big,
Yeah.
I don't know if Halliburton's still around, but they got these big guys lined up, and then they hire subcontractors all the way down. And if one of those contractors screws up, that guy's not getting paid. And they're not going to pay you until they get paid. So you're waiting 6-9 months, for government money to flow.
Yeah.
Things aren't released immediately. And so even if you're like, the place is burned down, is flooded down, is blown away, I can find a temporary job doing construction, targeting roofs, gutting houses. Like, there's temporary work. People need manpower. And then you're like, will I get paid?
Yeah.
And so it's a frustrating thing.
Yeah, no, FEMA sucks. They should be shut down. We should be able to go and lend our support to people that are in need if we feel like we want to. You know what I mean? Like, we should be able to go help them out. Nobody should be able to stop us.
FEMA got started after 9/11, right? That's when they really became big. And before that, it was American Red Cross, and they would work. American Red Cross would come in, and they would work with the community, and they would get stuff set up. They would talk to schools, "Can we use your gym?" All these things. But then we had a government agency jump in, and they want to control everything and make sure that they're the ones getting the high fives and the pats on the back. But in this case, right now, that they don't deserve one.
No.
And say what you want about the Red Cross, but when I was in Katrina area, or after Hurricane Katrina, New Orleans area, there were several times the only meal I got was from the Red Cross.
Yeah, they're a great organization.
Yeah, so they, say what you want about them, but I was like, that 1 or 2 meals I got a day was from the Red Cross.
Yeah.
Nobody else was feeding us.
Yeah.
Anyway, the tent city thing was crazy. A guy got stabbed one night, and then the next day, FEMA's like, "We're
Everybody
shutting
out.
down,
Yep.
everybody out," and we're like, "We have no place to go."
Yeah.
It's like it was crazy. It was
Yeah, no,
crazy.
and they have plenty of room for their people in hotels. Meanwhile,
Wow.
the rest of the people are out in tents freezing their asses off.
Yeah,
And I'm sorry, but if you stop someone from being able to save somebody because you can't, because your hands are tied by all this red tape, then you are effectively killing that person. It's BS.
I think
100%.
I think we should change FEMA's name to FEMA. Instead of Federal Emergency Management Agency, Federal Emergency Mismanagement Agency.
yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of feminine in it.
I guess I'm kind of indirect down with them, and I'm not a fan. But anyway, moving on. North Carolina, we still love you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wish
Praying
we
for everybody out there,
wish we
man.
could do more for you. Hopefully, the new bosses in town will do something.
Yeah.
I want to talk about this. Russia, Ukraine. There's a video out. It's on X. It's been out for a week or so. It's a Russia Ukraine hand to hand combat. They fight to the death. These soldiers do. And we're going to queue up a little video for you if we can get that rolling. But and this is the interview of the survivor, the Russian guy who survived it. And the other video, it's too graphic. I would say it's triple R because it's real. Someone actually dies.
Yeah.
The Ukrainian has a chest camera on him. There's a house in the background, and he's walking up to the house, and he takes fire. And so I don't know if he gets a couple rounds on him, where he stumbles, and then he returns fire, and then they're out of lead. So the Ukrainian pulls out his grenade, runs up to the window, tosses it in the window, and as he goes around the corner of the house, the Russian's exiting as the grenade goes boom.
Yeah.
And then they go to hand,
Yeah.
and then the Russian pulls out a knife. And so at this point, we're like 2 minutes into the video, and then there's like another 4 minutes where these guys are grappling for their lives,
Yeah.
trying to can maintain position on that knife. And there's some stuff you can't see because the camera's on his chest. But I mean,
There's drone footage of it as well, too, right?
Yeah.
And like Rick said, if you do go out and search, be careful. It is very graphic if you have small kids around or. Yeah.
It's not the stuff you see in the movies. It's a legit knife fight to the death. Like,
besides grappling, you hear some shouting, and there are translations of what's being said. I cried in it.
Let's check it out.
It hurt my soul to do that, and we're not designed to stab each other, and we'll get into that later. But at the end, the Ukrainian, I believe, he calls out to his mom, and then he tells the Russian soldier, enough, I'm in pain, let me die,
yeah.
let me breathe, and then at the end, they're staring at each other, and the Russians got him, grabbed by his, collar, armor, and the Ukrainian tells him, he's like, "You are the greatest warrior I've ever fought."
Yeah.
Let's check out this video.
Yeah, no, that's some real
It's
real
brutal.
warrior stuff,
Fighting
man.
flesh and spitting it out. I mean, it is like a brutal deal.
All right, here we go.
But this will be the Russian discussing the
Oh, is it going to be full screen?
after part.
Let's see. I think I have it.
And like at the time, I don't think the Russian knew there was a video. You know, he's like, "Hey, we were just being soldiers doing our job." Here you go.
I'm bringing it up here in a second. As soon as I can remember.
But anyway, it's interesting because even the Russian guy, he's like, I couldn't watch it.
Yeah.
You know, uh, in some cases, I think the Ukrainian that died is the lucky one. Yeah, I think the Russian that survived it is going to have nightmares the rest of his life. You know, having to go through something like that. So
Yeah.
it is.
So,
Uh, anyway, it's if you can put yourself in their shoes, it is a brutal, uh, brutal thing, at least for me to observe.
yeah. So this is an interview he did after he saw the video. So yeah, there's nothing graphic about this, but it's just kind of touches on things from his perspective.
Here we go.
А вот это видео, да, которое сейчас распространяется, ты его только вчера увидел, да?
Да, до этого, когда мы дрались, да, с этим хохлом, я не заметил, что у нее камера или что-то. Я вообще не видел это. И вчера вот, когда младший брат, он показал, слышь, вот, смотри, это ты, да, он показал. Я не смог досмотреть на, ну, как говорится, трудно еще раз смотреть. Такая длинная видео. Я думал, там минуту-две, да, максимум дрались. Я так думал. Ну, на самом деле, так долго мы дрались, оказывается. И вот когда в конце разговариваем, да, ну, прощай, дай мне умереть, там, отпусти, прощай. Вот это я не помню. Потому что так адреналин был, шок был. Оказывается, я прощался, да, человеческий этот остался.
Как настоящий воин, да?
С уважением. Ну, как-никак, но он тоже человек, он тоже боец, ради своей родины сражается. Я тоже, ну, надо все равно как-нибудь оставить человечность, надо все равно, я так думаю. Человечность надо все равно оставить.
Damn.
Yeah. You know, he fought for his country. It's like, I fought for mine, respect.
Yeah.
And these guys are battle hardened. Like when you watch the video, they take shots, they're doing their thing, they move forward towards the action. I mean, that's a battle hardened person.
Yeah.
He's by himself. No one's making him like, you got to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and you could ask the question, where's his team? In the U.S. military, you know, when you're taught, when it goes to the ground, someone's right behind you to handle that guy. So you don't end up in a situation like this.
Really quick, too. Where did we get that video so we can give credit? It's important.
So that was from POV combat footage on X.
Okay, POV combat footage on X. That's their channel.
At Zoma3MK.
Zelma3. And thank you for posting that video. You can find it on X and a few other places, folks.
Yeah, there's some drone footage that catches like the last 2-3 minutes of it. But anyway, I guess having been a soldier, like, I'm like, man, I could feel that. That was, I don't wish that on anybody. And to put things into perspective, the Air Force flies in, drops their thing, and they see the 4th of July, and they're like, yeah, awesome. When they land, they're like, oh, high five, you know. You know, then now you got the rifleman, and he's got some guy 300 yards away, and and you run off, and you're like, did I get him? Did I not? I don't know. You know, it's like, it's hard to tell at that distance what's going on. And then, you know, you start getting closer, you know, and then you got close proximity, and you still have your weapon, and dink, 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 and, you know, and you're starting to have a more emotional effect. When it gets into hand to hand, the separation of the rifle is different.
Yeah.
The boom, the thing, it's like you could almost like put some liability on that weapon. But with knife fighting, you can't.
Yeah.
It's not just a little squeeze of a trigger. It's a lot of body movement. It's you doing that. Psychologists know, even in like, oh, a gang fight, I got, uh, how many? Can I say stabbing? The guy got stabbed 30 times. The psychologists know, go, that guy's going to have issues.
Yeah.
That guy's going to have sexual issues because of that.
Yeah.
Like sex and killing are connected,
Mm.
and we don't realize that. There's some good books on it. Colonel Grossman, he has a book called On Combat, On Killing. He's a retired ranger,
Yeah.
and he became a psychologist. And he's like, they're writing books on this stuff and studying it, and they, and I've talked about this, why women in combat is a concern.
Yeah.
They talk about the adrenaline and the emotional effects. So even in this guy's acting kind of like he should. He's like, I don't remember it being that long. I don't remember our conversation being this way.
Yeah.
So when you're in the heat of the moment and the blood's moving to different places and your body's in flight or flight response, you're going to have selective hearing, selective memory, selective all this stuff. And sometimes we call it after action review is good because you're human, your brain information of what happened isn't accurate.
Yeah.
We have medics that are like have survivor guilt because they couldn't save another soldier.
Hmm.
And in the after action review, they have to remind him, go, he was dead when you got to him.
Hmm.
And you think he had hope still. They're like, you did it. So sometimes you need that because
Yeah.
our bias, the way our brain works, we just don't remember it right because things are so exciting.
Yeah. War is definitely not a pretty thing.
It's not. But it's like every emotion. If you're a soldier and you've seen some stuff, or or even in real life, sometimes we come across that. There's so many levels there because it's like he's fighting for my country, I'm fighting for his. I mean, there's a reason they don't want snipers to check the kill.
Yeah.
Because when they roll that guy over and they pat him down and search him, they're like, "Oh, he's got a love note from his wife."
Yeah.
And
They
there's a
need to
picture
have
of his
some
wife
level
and
of
kid.
separation.
Yeah, they need a level of separation because it messes with their head. He's like, he's just like you, just like this guy said. He's fighting for my country.
Yeah.
I'm fighting for his. So you have this brutality and respect and all these things going on. The Ukrainians' code name or call sign was like Cobra,
Hmm.
which is
That's badass.
and so I guess he was, he's a battle-hardened tough dude. But,
Yeah.
No matter how tough you are, circumstances,
Yeah.
the Russian got the knife out first, or whatever, and
Yeah.
maybe he had a few shots on him too beforehand. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe it just hit his arm, or maybe he just stumbled. Like there's a lot we don't know about it.
Yeah.
But it has weighed on my mind for several weeks after having watched this. I was like, it's brutal. It's raw. It's not MMA. I mean, there's aspects of martial arts there, but it's raw MMA. And I have seen. I mean, we've heard of stories where MMA failed. There's a professional MMA fighter outside of Las Vegas. Guy tried to rob him, right? He puts him in an armbar, and he's like, I'm going to let go of you, right? We're good. And when he lets go, the guy stabs him. And I think, does he die? Or anyway, something happens. I think he dies.
I believe so.
He got stabbed. Anyway, I think he died. But we've seen where, no matter how great, this is a pro fighter.
Yeah.
And guy on the street got him with trickery or whatever, fight or flight, got him.
Yeah.
In the Army, not that I'm Mr. Knife Fighter, but I was part of a team, and we were doing knife fighting drills one day. And I was like, well, bring some of the rubber knives to fitness in the morning. And it was interesting to see how it played out. A knife is a game changer. All the guys, there was 24 guys in our team. We probably had 16, 20 guys there that morning. And all the guys that were wrestlers in high school, college, whatever, the knife killed them.
Oh, yeah.
they're so busy trying to do a takedown that
Yep.
that I was carving them up. They're like,
Yeah.
they grab me by the waist, want to throw me down, and my knife is all over their neck and
Oh, yeah.
back, and I
Yep.
was like, looked like a 5-year-old was writing on the wall. You know, it was, I mean, it was a thing.
Yeah.
And they were like, they had to take a step back, and they're like, whoa,
Yeah.
like all my training, all my muscle memory failed me in
Yep.
that moment when that knife came out.
Mm.
It is a game changer.
Oh, yeah.
And like I say, I have very limited experience with it, but I learned from basic maneuvers from a mercenary, and I was like, oh, fun. Reverse grip, you have
Yeah,
these
yeah.
little methods. Like just like I'm a teenager with the thing, but it was anyone with real martial arts would probably just destroy me. But in military, it was like they're busy doing combatives and
Yeah.
jujitsu, and they're busy doing these other things, but like they're not busting out the knife. It's like and to take another step forward further that we're not designed for knife fighting. There's a reason we don't use bayonets anymore.
Yeah.
They've used it a couple times in war, fixed bayonets, and they charge each other, and usually one group chickens out. When you're given a command to put the bayonet on, you're given a command to kill an enemy or whatever, they flip it around and they butt stock them in the face. We are like so against stabbing, penetrating another human being. It's like in our DNA. And so the military had to go away from it. They're like, the soldiers, no matter how much we train them, even with muscle memory, they disregard their training and they use the butt stock. And they're like, well, we'll quit putting bayonets and stabbing hay bales. We're like,
Yeah.
get rid of it.
Yeah.
It's for whatever reason. So I'm just trying to paint a picture that to do this is a hard thing.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and there's it's crazy. I mean, the guy there's a really raw human aspect of the whole thing. You know what I mean? You could see the pain in the guy's face. Even now, he's like, dude, I didn't want to do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's still another human being. We were just in this situation at the time, and that's how it ended up playing out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it could have easily been the other way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there is a cost to taking life.
Yep.
Colonel Grossman points out that only 1 out of 100 people can unalive somebody and not carry that burden. The odds are against you.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've had the understanding in war, right? You have 100 people, or the whole army, whatever you want to call it, the whole team. Out of 100 people, 10% shouldn't be there. 80% are targets. 9% are good warriors, or 9 of them are good warriors, and 1 will get you home. And, you don't know who that Rambo is until he's been tested.
Yeah.
And you will be amazed who it is. It's not the loudmouth cool guy. I promise you that. It's not him. I have seen in a couple occasions the cool guy fail. And they talk a good game and they play sports and they're these, wonderful people. But when it really matters, I've seen them buckle. And I don't know why it's our human nature to be like, how in the world did you buckle?
Yeah.
You talk such a good game for so long that when life and death came down,
The nice thing about this clip, Russian Ukrainian, it just came out this morning that Vladimir Putin is going to talk to Trump about peace.
Yeah.
And I'm sure as the aggressor, there's a point where you're just done also with war because you're seeing your own men die, and you're there having to take other people's lives. So
Yeah.
I think it'll be great to actually end this. I don't want to call it a conflict. Just some would say nonsense. I don't know if it's nonsense either, but it just needs to end. And I thank God that it's after seeing that fight that it's finally at that point where we're able to close this chapter of our history.
Yeah, no, enough's enough. It's needless at this point. Like there's no reason for it
Yeah.
to continue. That's
hopefully there's a lot we don't know or don't remember about what's going on. And whatever side you pick on, I just try to look at it as objectively as I can.
Yeah.
We're all biased. We all got our thing. I get it.
Yeah.
You can criticize my view too, but I was like,
Okay.
you know what? It wasn't that long ago. Donnie's ready to criticize.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm taking notes.
He's still listening to me. It wasn't long ago that Russia's like, hey, we'll join NATO. Let's put
Yeah.
this behind us. And we're like, no. And then we do the NATO thing, and little by little we violated that treaty, kept adding NATO all the way to his doorstep, and then we expect him not to react. I mean,
Yeah.
if he came to Mexico, we'd be throwing a fit too. Like,
Yeah.
what? Right. Like, anyway, so regardless of your belief, there has been a game going on long before this, and there'll probably be a game long after this. But
Oh yeah.
hopefully they can come to some type of agreement. And but anyway, I don't wish.
So speak of peace, we had a bishop get up and talk. I forget her name, but
Edgar Butte.
Bud. I think it's Bud.
So she's a female bishop, first female Washington diocese bishop.
Yeah.
Is that Washington D.C. or?
Yeah, Washington
Yeah.
D.C.
Washington, D.C.
And so she spoke at the inauguration thing.
Well, I think it was like they do like some prayer for the nation type thing.
Yes. Her job was to get up and pray for unity.
And so she went into the LGBTQ thing
Yeah.
And then immediately, without skipping a beat, we're like, where'd that come from?
to the
Immigrants.
Yeah.
so and I saw it and I go, I don't even know how to comment on this. Because there's people that are one side, people are like, she is so brave to say that.
Oh my goodness.
Where's the unity?
So Brian.
On the other side, there's people like, hey, she's out of line.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
She is out of line.
Absolutely. 100%.
we got opinions here, it's out of line.
So the whole idea is we're just put the fighting behind. It's been happening in our country for 8 years.
So was she brave? Was she out of line?
No.
You got this debate. And so that leads us, at least in my mind, that leads us into separation of church and state. And this is kind of a tough one because I don't think separation of church and state means exactly what we think it means.
I think we talked a little bit about it yesterday. It means keeping, well, the whole idea behind the premise of separation of church and state is that they didn't want the government to do what it did in Britain and make a Church of England and make that the only church allowed. That they want the government to say, you know what, we will protect your right to establish in a religious manner whatever religion you decide. But what has been twisted in our history, and meaning that would keep religion out of politics, but everybody is religious in some point. Whether you religiously believe in the Big Bang Theory or you religiously believe in atheism, religion is a way of life or a lifestyle, and we see that in the political realm, in the political theater, if you will, all the time. And the design isn't to keep God out of because it's everywhere. Whatever your God is, I know I believe I serve there's only one true God, but I know there's other people that believe different, and the government is supposed to protect that.
Yep.
So, with that being said, from Donnie there, our minister. So the Constitution says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion.
Yes.
So here's where it gets tricky. We already had somewhat of a separation of church and state.
Yeah.
We already had it, and then they took it a step further. And by taking it a step further, they made all religions equal. Like you have the right to believe and practice as you want it, but they made all rights equal in the political field. And so what this opens the door to, you don't have to agree with me, but just follow me on my thought process.
Yeah.
What it opens the door to is all religions now have a chance to run to the government and create change in
In their name, yeah.
foundational principles of the framework that was built.
Yeah.
Because people could say, keep it out. But now Muslims could come in and say, hey, we want this. Christians could come in with whatever sect they believe in and say, we want polygamy. We've got this group that wants to come in. And so now they have all an equal playing field into disrupting the framework.
Yeah.
Before, there was already separation. Now the separation has.
Yeah, because the government's put their nose too far into it.
Yeah. Well, and it was originally, like Donnie said, was to keep the government out of the church, but it got twisted and used the other way around to pull the church out of everything that it wasn't. You know what I mean? And and adopt institutions that were never meant to be adopted under that. It's just
There are atheists that were judges that said, I do not believe in this religion and these 10 commandments in my courtroom, but it's a part of our history. And how could I, as a judge, want to remove history from this building and this institution?
Yeah, and if that's the case, why do you still have people swear on the Bible when they're giving testimony in court?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's still not out of our institutions because it's what we were founded on.
Yeah. I mean, you could probably simplify this and bring it into your home point of view.
Yeah.
You have your home government, you have this and that, and then, something comes along and disrupts your form of home policies.
Yeah.
CPS shows up, right?
Yeah.
Messing with you, or they pass a law that's like, hey, no praying in the home, and you're like, what do you mean?
Yeah, try and stop me.
Apply it even to the family structure of how if you created all ideology equal, then they can start poking into how you run your own household.
Yeah.
That's all that's happened on the government level.
Yeah.
I mean, I have people that are, atheists, whatever, and I'll tease them, be like, science is a religion. Your prophet is Einstein.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Most recently, Fauci, because he is the science.
Obviously, I'm an Einstein believer. I use it in my burger ad.
Yeah. E equals MC. The burger is good.
It's MC squared. Meat, cheese. You're still
Exactly.
worst profit ever. You guys enjoy a good burger, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. With this lady, I just don't know how you're supposed to be doing a unity prayer and you bring up literally the most divisive topic over the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
That's your go-to for unity. I mean, you should be looking forward into the future and not being stuck on the issues we've been having that have been separating.
And it became more of a plea to the president to please protect these people. Like, he's already said he's going to protect all Americans.
Yeah.
So the separation of church and state, just to finish this up, was a letter Thomas Jefferson wrote that he mentioned separation of church and state in a letter.
Yes.
It has been used and spun, for other purposes.
Oh, yeah.
But the Constitution's just like, hey, you get to believe what you want to believe.
Yeah.
Politics can be politics.
Yeah, I mean, we don't need these extra laws. I think the Constitution had it right, and we can just follow that.
Yeah.
It was simple. You know what I mean? We didn't need to complicate it with all this other BS.
It's true. I agree. What's this letter say?
We'd have to look it up.
Oh, I thought you had it written down.
I just had the quote written down.
Oh,
Says,
can you summarize it?
separate Donnie Parker
From his estate? What?
from his estate.
Oh, so now it's about Mexico. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
My estate.
Estate.
Spain. Banya, where?
I think it really comes down to this, and here's what society is really screaming right now. Can't we all just get along? I don't care if you're a man and you prefer men. I don't want to know about it. That's your life.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with it. I don't, just like you may not agree with me being with a woman. But we don't need to discuss it in the courtroom in the schools. I don't need to shove it down the kids' throats, and I think that we just need to get back to, in this country, being one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, right? being one. And we grew up with a saying in school that they would have us shout it, united we stand and divided we fall. We are clearly a divided nation right now. And I think I'm not the only one crying out. We're done with it.
Yeah, dude, I'm tired. It's time to stop, man. We got to stop nitpicking over the little shit. It's
Yeah.
seriously, it's ridiculous at this point. And if you're still holding on to that, you need to take a long, hard look in the mirror and see what kind of biases you have that you need to let go, because there are bigger things at stake than just your gender or whatever you think you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There are bigger things at stake than the color of your skin. There are bigger things at stake than your ideas about how the world should be.
We have a family in North Carolina freezing to death.
Yeah, I don't know what they believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't. Yeah, I don't care if it was a couple of two dudes. I don't care if it's a couple of two chicks. I literally don't care about anything other than they're dead now because we let them down.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Much of this is perspective, and I've said this several times, right? Democrats, Republicans, were slaves arguing. If we strip away all the blinders we have on about this whole process,
Yeah.
we have more in common
Yep. It's true.
than we are different.
Yep.
I say this over and over again. And to simply prove the point, we all want affordable housing. We
Yep.
all want affordable food. We want to spend time with our family.
Yep.
We all want our basics are all the same.
Yes.
We all want quality of life. We all want this stuff.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what came along and shook the jar where we started frenzying over these little things.
Yeah.
But for some reason, the illusion is so strong that we cannot see past it.
Come on. Yep.
Yeah.
That's truth right there,
Yeah,
Rick.
honestly, I think a lot of it had to do with the weaponization of mainstream media over the last 4 or 5 years. It's been rampant. It's been crazy. These talking heads have been getting paid millions of dollars to lie to people and shake the freaking jar of honey with the bees in it. So we all just get pissed at each other for nothing.
Yeah.
I was told something this a couple of days ago, and I've been processing it. Many of us refer to what we live in as the Matrix. We've all seen the movie and what's going on. But what I was told in this meeting was uh, North America, because he talked about matrix. Each continent has a matrix and a gameplay. And he says North
Yeah.
America is the hardest matrix to live in. And he's like, if you can see through the matrix, that is really something.
Yeah.
Because they have really created a very powerful illusion, or the programming is really strong here. And if you can find your way through the programming in North America, the United States, you've commend yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you are seeing things that that we're kind of, we talked about this
We're seeing the
yesterday.
code.
Yeah, we're in denial that other countries
Yeah.
about our
Yep.
situation. And it's a tough pill to swallow because this is the United States.
Yeah.
We are the best. We are the brightest. We have the best
Yep.
technology. And then we look around the world and go, wait a second, So some people are having their illusion poked at. But overall, and so I'm processing this. Is our matrix the toughest one in the world because of what we've been spoon fed as
Yeah.
culture, policy, agendas?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so because a lot of pride and hubris has been fed to us constantly. So it's hard to break out of that and take a look around and say, well, maybe things aren't the best here. Maybe we can do better. Maybe what we've been fed is lies. Maybe we need to actually search for some semblance of truth we can agree on.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And so and I guess the golden age question, like what will it take for us to, see what's in common, what's, brings us together and put aside these petty things.
Yep.
And that is a trick question because a couple of days ago was like, Racism Awareness Day. I was watching this.
What the heck?
Dude, why do we need to be aware? The way you fix racism is by not acknowledging it exists.
Yeah.
Like,
It's fake. It's made up.
Mentioning that. Many things that you believe in are languaged into existence.
Yep.
This is kind of a deep concept. So, what we consider fact is something you can point to, right? It's an object. If I point to a chair and we play charades and I point to a chair, there's a high probability you're going to be like, 4 legs, seat, back, it's a chair.
Yeah.
There's a high probability I can point to it and you know what I'm talking about. Now, as we get into emotions and different things, and this is a tough topic because it's like with racism is something that is language into an existence.
Yeah.
It's difficult to point at because when you point at it, all you see is person A did something cruel to person B. And so that's about all you can point to at it. But then we've languaged it in as a concept that it's more than that.
It's because they're this or that.
Skin color, religion, all these other things, and then it becomes kind of mainstream, and then everybody buys into this thing that was languaged into existence,
Yep.
and everybody believes in this
I've
concept.
never agreed with you more, Rick. I've never agreed with you more. I thank you for saying that.
Yeah. This time Rick wasn't wrong.
To existence, and there's many of them. Some things that are pretty smart. You'd be like, you know what? This was language into existence. Some of our feelings that we feel,
Yeah.
you know, because I think what are there 4 or 5 basic feelings you have, and then they're like feeling. We say this complex thing because someone else had explained it. You know, and a weird example of this is you're reading through some like symptoms of some disease, and you're like, I've got this. No, you don't. You know, it's like because you read it and it was kind of language. You're like, you know, twitching. You're like, I've got a twitch, and itchiness. I've got an itch. You know, it's like we read through these things, the language, and then we apply it, and so sometimes we get off track.
Yeah.
Something that doesn't even exist. But we believe it to be so true, you will die on that.
So those that are listening, I see your little number up here of a number of watchers. Throw some comments out. Please get on the live chat and give us some feedback of, you know, your thoughts on this.
Yeah, become a part of the conversation, man.
While we're talking about it, the camera just went black, by the way. Like, share, and subscribe and follow. Please, on our Rumble, on Facebook, on everything. Like, share, subscribe, follow, whatever buttons you can push them for us.
So another concept of something that we believe to be true, and that's languaged in, and we have a lot of validation for this, is time.
Yeah.
This is us.
So you have this concept of time that we have language into existence. And we have a ton of evidence, right? There's this thing called the calendar. We watch the sun rise and drop every day like clockwork. And so we really truly believe that time is something that's real. And then you get some spiritual guy that says time is just the present. The present is all that exists right now.
Yeah.
But you will go to the grave going, I have a watch, my cell phone tells time. We have all these metrics that man has created to regulate these things.
Yeah.
Daylight savings time, you know, the winter, summer. We have all these things that are there that we will die. Oh, no, there's a thing called time. I've seen pictures of the past. I've seen photos.
Yeah, we have this like weird OCD towards order, and I think we've gone like so far to the other end of the spectrum that it's starting to become chaos. Like
right now, all you have is right now.
Yeah,
it's right now.
Yeah,
I've never been able to go back, never been able to go forward, and you're like, there's systems in play that we believe in, but like, and some people, I don't know, maybe their minds are like, blown up right now, but. And you are allowed to believe what you want to believe, but you have right now. That is all that exists is right now. So they talk about there's that big trend, be in the present,
Yeah.
You know, this
Well, I mean, going back to the thing you were talking about with words have meanings, why do we call it the present? Because it's the gift that we live inside. That's where we have the most agency to affect everything around us.
Yep.
finally a positive word.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of positive, also too, I do want to give a shout out to Rick's. Of course, I had their beef soup yesterday. It was delicious. Can't wait to find out what soup they have today. I'm excited after the show's over, which I'm pretty sure we're close. But I love the soups down here. If you're a soup and salad guy, they got soup, they got salad, they got sandwiches, soup and sandwich. They usually have a special half a sandwich and soup. A really good price. So if you're hungry, come down to Rick's and see what's on the menu. Also, really quick, also want to give a shout out to Brothers Automotive, the cheapest auto repair in town. I guaranteed you, if you price anyone else and call Brothers Automotive, you're going to be very happy with your prices and the work that's done in an excellent manner. I don't think I've ever seen somebody. Rarely have I seen people Rick's come back again and said, "Hey, well, this is still isn't working." But then it didn't end up just being your truck was the issue.
Something nobody seems to be able to fix.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But other than that, like I've never seen people come back. The issue was solved. Brothers of Automotive here in Moses Lake, 509-361-9443. Again, 509-361-9443.
Brothers Automotive, your brother from another mother.
He's so cheap. Take your car to go make some money to
Yeah.
What is your soup today, man? I'm hungry.
let the girls decide what the soup specials are.
Nice.
Because if I did, it'd be like the zombie burger, you know, like because they're words have power.
Yeah. Yeah.
So want a zombie, but like
That would be awesome.
there's a stigma with things being gross that way. So I'm like, I seem to lose that battle.
Well, I mean, it depends on what you put in it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it depends on what you put in it.
Brain sauce.
Yeah, just a little bit of, brain jelly.
I had wild ideas. I wanted them to be like, I'm taking doubles on. He'd be like, say,
Yeah. What if I just want like a left hemisphere to this? Can I get that?
180D. Oh, check.
Yeah.
This
Rick hates single-celled organisms.
single cell organism. Is that potato?
Yeah, something like that.
So these ideas that will never happen. I wanted to make. I can do this. I wanted to make a tater tot where they could put it in a form so it'd get pressed
Hmm.
and frozen in a shape, so it'd be a little face, and then I wanted to be able to inject inside of it rice sauce or ketchup.
Oh, that would be
so
awesome.
Squeeze it, you'd be like, and you can play with it.
Yeah, that would be, dude. Kids would love that.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
I was like, how would you do that? Injector. Maybe you got to call it something else. But in my mind, I was like, could you make something?
You could do it with chicken nuggets,
Or could you
for
fry
sure.
and then stab it and squeeze something in it? Yeah, chicken. I don't know.
Dude,
but
yeah.
It's like,
Chicken nuggets, you can do it. The
but
potato, I think, might be too.
a shape or something
Yeah.
that would be fun to play with. So somebody creative, maybe you make it big, but
Yeah, like a
fry it,
big
it's
Sour Patch Kid, but like you have ketchup in the head.
something.
Like,
So you can
bite
squeeze it, and it
ketchup
kind of
comes
oozes
out.
out the top of his head. I was like, kids would have way too much fun.
Yes.
But it's part of the things I have to live with that I will never tell you about.
Except you just did.
So it's ruined my never have tater tots again. I thought it'd be fun, but
They sound good, actually.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
it's a delicacy in many countries.
tastes like chicken.
Oh man.
Oh, well, we covered a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
That Russian Ukrainian fight there,
Yeah,
that stirred my soul, guys.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, just the honor of a warrior, to another warrior. That's like, dude, yeah, that gets me.
Yeah, that stirred my soul quite a bit. And I hope I don't wish that on anybody.
No.
We all want peace and whatever. And even being a soldier, I was like, I have never seen anything like that. That's stuff we don't think about.
Yeah.
Biting flesh,
Yeah.
spitting
Dude.
it out. I mean, biting
Yeah.
fingers
Doing
off.
whatever you
It's
got to
like,
do to survive,
yeah,
man.
brutal. Yeah, you're starting to survive, and they're exhausted at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I pray for the families of the gentleman who died in that altercation. I pray for the gentleman who had to still live with it. You know,
Yeah,
that's
takes
just
us. Who died? Cobra is the lucky one.
yeah,
At least I'm assuming he's at peace.
yeah, absolutely.
Brutal. All right, folks.
That's it for today's Rixican Show. Thank you for joining us. Like, share, and subscribe.
If you want a zombie burger, let me know.
Yeah, let's get that into production.
The zombie tater tots. You play with your food? You're so fun.
Play with your food at Rick's. All right, we're out.
All right. Peace out.